This desert should not exist. In the middle of one of the hottest deserts on Earth, there is a place that looks like it belongs on the moon. No giant dunes, no endless waves of sand. Instead, hundreds of strange white shapes rise from the desert floor. Some look like giant mushrooms. Some resemble frozen waves. Others look disturbingly like giant skulls. At night, these formations glow under the moonlight. The entire desert turns silver. Travelers often say it feels like stepping onto another planet. This surreal place is called the White Desert of Egypt, and it may be one of the strangest landscapes on Earth. But the most surprising part? These alien structures were not created by volcanoes, not by earthquakes, not by glaciers. They were created by wind. Millions of years of relentless desert wind. But the story of the White Desert actually begins somewhere very unexpected, at the bottom of an ancient ocean. Millions of years ago, this entire region was underwater. A massive prehistoric sea covered much of northern Africa. The place that is now dry desert was once ocean floor. Tiny marine creatures lived here. Shellfish, coral, microscopic plankton. When these creatures died, their shells sank to the bottom. Over millions of years, their remains piled up, layer after layer, of ancient sea life. These shells were rich in calcium. Slowly, they hardened into thick rock. That rock became limestone and chalk. And eventually, this entire seabed turned into solid white stone. But the ocean did not stay forever. Over time, the sea slowly disappeared. The land began to rise. The ocean floor was pushed upward, and the ancient seabed became desert. But something else was about to reshape the landscape. Wind. Desert wind is incredibly powerful, especially over long periods of time. Tiny grains of sand act like natural sandpaper, blasting against rock day after day, year after year, century after century. Over thousands of years, the wind began carving the chalk. Slowly, the flat white rock was sculpted into strange shapes. Some formations grew tall, others became thin, some were hollowed out. And little by little, a bizarre landscape emerged, a desert filled with white stone sculptures. But these sculptures were not made by humans. They were carved by nature itself. One of the most famous formations in the White Desert is known as the Mushroom Rock. At first glance, it looks impossible. A massive rock cap balanced on a thin pillar. It almost looks like it could fall over at any moment. But these structures are surprisingly stable, and once again, the wind is responsible. Near the ground, wind moves faster. Sand particles strike the base of the rock again and again. This erodes the lower section much faster than the top. Slowly, the base becomes thinner, while the top remains wide. The result is the strange mushroom shape seen across the desert. Some of these formations are several meters tall, standing like silent guardians in the empty landscape. But mushroom rocks are only the beginning. Some formations look like animals. One rock formation looks exactly like a giant chicken. Locals actually call it the chicken in the mushroom. Other formations look like giant camels or sleeping creatures buried in the sand. Your brain constantly tries to recognize familiar shapes, and the White Desert is full of illusions. Each traveler sees something different: a giant turtle, a frozen wave, a towering alien creature. The longer you look, the more shapes appear. It feels almost like walking through a natural sculpture gallery, except every sculpture was carved by wind. During the day, the desert is extremely bright. The chalk formations reflect sunlight intensely. Sometimes the white rock is almost blinding. The ground glows under the harsh desert sun. But the real magic begins after sunset. When darkness falls, the temperature drops quickly. The sky becomes incredibly clear. And then the moon rises. The chalk formations begin reflecting moonlight. The entire desert turns pale silver. The rocks cast long shadows across the sand. And suddenly, the landscape looks completely different. Many visitors say, this moment feels unreal, as if the earth itself has transformed into something alien. And in many ways, the White Desert really does resemble the moon. The ground is pale. The landscape is empty. Strange formations rise in every direction. And there is almost complete silence. No cities, no highways, no artificial lights, just wind, an endless open sky. Standing here at night, you might feel like you have left Earth behind. But despite its beauty, very few people live here. The White Desert is an extremely harsh environment. Summer temperatures can exceed 40 degrees Celsius. Water sources are rare, and sudden sandstorms can appear without warning. Because of these conditions, the area remains mostly untouched. Only experienced desert guides regularly travel through the region. Most visitors explore the desert on guided expeditions, often camping overnight beneath the stars. Local Bedouin guides know the desert paths. Without them, it would be easy to become lost, because the landscape can look very similar in every direction, but the desert still hides another incredible secret. If you look closely at the ground, you might find fossils, millions of years old, shells from ancient sea creatures, small coral fragments, even fossilized marine animals, proof that this dry desert was once ocean floor. It is an incredible contradiction, standing in one of the driest places on Earth, while holding a fossil from an ancient sea. Time itself is layered into the desert. Every rock tells part of the story, a story millions of years old. The White Desert is not static, it is constantly changing. Wind continues carving the chalk. Tiny grains of sand are always moving. Every storm reshapes the surface. Over centuries, the formations slowly evolve. Some pillars collapse, new shapes appear, and the desert quietly transforms itself. No human artist could ever recreate it, because the sculptor here is time itself. But there is one final reason the White Desert feels so mysterious: the silence. Unlike many deserts, this place can become almost completely quiet. No insects, no running water, no rustling trees. Sometimes the wind stops entirely, and the desert becomes still. Travelers often say this silence feels powerful, almost overwhelming, as if the landscape is holding its breath. In moments like that, you begin to understand something. Places like this are extremely rare. A landscape shaped by ancient oceans, millions of years of wind, and the slow passage of time. The White Desert reminds us how strange our planet truly is. Even on Earth, there are places that look completely alien, landscapes that feel like another world. And the most surprising part? They were not created by some mysterious force. Just water, wind, stone, and time working together for millions of years, creating a desert that looks like the moon right here on Earth. If you ever find yourself standing in the White Desert at night, surrounded by glowing chalk formations under a sky full of stars, you might have the same thought many travelers have had before. For a moment, it feels like you are standing on another planet. If you'd like, I can also show you more strange places on Earth that look completely alien, because the White Desert is only the beginning. Our planet still hides many landscapes that look like they belong in another world.